Hey, Shalom, Akim Shalom. Before I begin this lesson, I want to start off by giving all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Chakwadash, and double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who taught us this truth. A sincere Shalom to the hopeful elect that's out there listening, learning, and or teaching. Shalom to you all. All right, so I came across this article earlier when I was at the plantation. I was just scrolling real quick. And I said, yup, that's the lesson for the day, through the spirit. It just, the spirit of the Lord hit me. And I said, yup, that's going to be the lesson, man. So, fast forward, here we are after plantation, ready to get this lesson in through the spirit, Lord's will. It be edifying to the hopeful elect. Now, of course, I got some basic scriptures up, the classics. And I'm going to grab some of these precepts along the way, but basically, man, this 3-eye atlas situation is scaring Esau, man. Okay, and we brought it out a while ago where they had assembled certain nations together to watch this activity, and they also set up a preparation against any threats that could come from space. Okay, just off the top of my head, I don't know exactly how it's worded, but it's similar to what this article is going into. So and you can think about the Space Force, right? You could think about the words of Ronald Reagan, where he said that, imagine how everybody would put their differences aside if we were being threatened by a force that's outside this world, or an alien threat. Okay. And so, basically I'm gonna just go into it and y'all see what I'm talking about, man. It's, these devils are scared, man. These Edomites, these heathens, all these nations that are against our people, they're afraid of what's going on in the heavens, man, because they know that our salvation and their end is gonna come from the sky, man. It's gonna come from the heavens. All right, so I'm gonna get into this article real quick. It says 3-eye Atlas spaceship triggers wave of global planetary defense drills. A wave of large-scale planetary defense drills has been carried out across the world in recent weeks. You see, and this is a picture that they took in one of their infrared, or I don't know what they call it. It could be infrared, it could be depending on which wavelengths they were trying to get, they got this. All right, and they got us a particular heat signature, and it's acting up. It's not acting like a normal comet. Okay, it's doing things that it's not supposed to. All right, it's speeding up by itself, and slowing down. Okay, I'm gonna read this. It says new evidence and pictures point to what mysterious interstellar visitor 3-eye Atlas really is, ripped from the mail. I guess that's a link right there. But anyway, yeah, we're going to keep reading. It says a series of extensive planetary defense exercises has been conducted worldwide in recent weeks, sparking theories that governments are bracing for the unpredictable conduct of the interstellar object designated 3-eye Atlas. While each drill has been portrayed as standard procedure, their coordination and magnitude have sparked concerns among space experts and defense personnel. Yeah, man, they got everybody in on this because the elite international banking families, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, okay, they understand, biblical prophecy because they're watching us, okay? And also, they've got their teams of scholars constantly going into the scriptures so they could figure out how they could offset Bible prophecy, right? And that's why, these devils will keep kicking the can down the road and, they'll eventually try to chip up everybody in the world, all right? And ultimately, they want the elect. Because if they could get the elect chipped up or, just destroy the elect, they feel like they could get their blessing back, okay? Which that's, I made a video on that not too long ago. All right, but yeah, man, this 3-eye Atlas, man, I brought it out before that it's a very high possibility. This is a chariot of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, man. This could very well be a chariot. Okay, and I'm not saying it's Yahweh Shai's chariot. Okay, but it could be Michael's chariot. It could be another angel's chariot. It could be a swarm of chariots, man. Okay. And real quick, I want to grab a scripture, man. This is Psalms 68 and 17. The chariots of the Most High are 20,000, even thousands of angels. The Lord is among them, as in Sinai, in the holy place, right? So the Lord is also in one of these vehicles, man. Okay, a chariot is simply a word that means vehicle. Okay, in the most basic sense. Okay, and we know that the prophets of old, they didn't know about technology the way we know about it. We call it a spaceship. They called it a chariot. All right, but let's go back here. All right, we're going to keep going into the article. We'll go down here. It says the European Space Agency kicked off the series by activating its complete planetary defense system, encompassing mission control, rapid response modeling, and ground-based observation networks. This extraordinary 3-day simulation was succeeded by Japan's fast-tracked asteroid impact exercise involving civilian, military, and commercial satellite operators. You see these operations and these, drills, they're running them worldwide, man. Showing you that it's a joint effort, man. It's the Tower of Babel all over again. And part of the NWO is setting up an army to fight against Yahushua, man. All right, and the scriptures goes into how these different nations are going to try to come against our Lord, man. And here they are practicing for a so-called alien invasion. Okay, now we're very aware of Blue Beam. We're very aware of these things, and it's a possibility that these devils can fake an alien invasion. Okay, in order to use that as an agenda for something, or as a device to bring about something. Okay, however, there will be a true so-called alien invasion, and that's when our Lord Yahushua returns with the angels of heaven to take down this man's rulership. All right, to take down Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. As the scriptures say, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. So the end of this wicked age is in the white man's rulership. That's how we know we're at the end, man. You had the Greek Empire, the Roman Empire, and during that time of and now we're in the American Empire, which were all Edomite empires, man. Okay, and so we're at the last leg of the Roman Empire, man. We know the Roman Empire came back through America. Okay, so this is it. After this, Yasharallah, hey, we're free, man. No more captivity. No more going to these plantation jobs. No more of our women being out of order. No more poisoning the food, water, and the air. No more having to worry about, trying to raise your kids the way you want to raise them without the government stepping in and trying to fuck your shit up, and, all these wicked influences out here. And, this whole world is hell, man. This shit's almost over with, man. Righteousness is going to rule here on the earth very soon, man. Very soon, man. The scriptures tells you to look up, for our salvation draweth nigh, man. We're looking up because these are the chariots of salvation. This is a beautiful thing when we see activity up there in the heavens. If you see a chariot, or you hear about, these devils terrified because there's something up there in the heavens acting strange. Okay. First you had Oumuamua, right? And now you have Three-Eye Atlas, man. Okay, and Oumuamua was kind of getting them a little bit worried, man. They were thinking that, that could be something. All right? Which it could have very well been. Okay? Could have very well been a chariot. Okay, but there's no UFOs. Okay, the so-called UFOs are the chariots, and who's driving in them is angels. Right? And Yahushua. Yahushua, the Heavenly Father, they have chariots, man. All right? All right, let's start reading from here. It says, involving civilian, military, and commercial satellite operators Within 48 hours, the U.S. Space Force wrapped up a high-altitude orbital tracking rehearsal that had initially been slated for late 2026, but was suddenly accelerated. Hey, that's beautiful, man. That's why we tell you, brothers and sisters, don't be bullshitting in this thing, man. Yes, they implement gradualism, but in a moment's notice, man, the Lord is going to force Esau's hand, man. This bullshit about him kicking a can down the road is not going to keep going on forever, man. It's not going to go on forever, man. You know, we were excited looking at this whole SNAP benefits getting taken away all the way, hoping all hell would break loose. Then they backtracked a little bit on that, but they still putting measures on that, a little bit more gradual. So now what? A lot of people are going to lose it, but not as many as we thought. So it's not going to be all out chaos right away. Okay? Just like these devils had their Space Force and other different drills, and they planned it for 2026, but it was suddenly accelerated. Hey, you know what comes to mind? Agenda 2030, and we tell you all the time. Yeah, that's what these devils want to do. But guess what? It's not going to be Agenda 2030 because they say, no, it's going to be the year the Lord chooses. The Lord could make them suddenly accelerated, and we could be out of here by 2026, 2027, man. We don't have to wait till fucking 2030, man. The only chip, the only major prophecy left is that chip being mandated, man. And they have a whole laundry list of shit they want to do by 2030. The only one thing on that list we need is that chip. Once the chip is out of the fucking way, hey, Yahweh Shai could come through real quick, man, and end this shit, man. You know, because we go by biblical prophecy, man. All right, that's the true wisdom and knowledge and understanding. It says nations that seldom publicize such operations, including Australia, South Korea, and Brazil, have also taken part in a collaborative exercises. These rehearsals utilize data sharing frameworks designed to examine what internal records characterize as high velocity, non-gravitationally accelerated objects. And that's what's scaring them, man, because when an object gets close to the sun, it will naturally accelerate towards the sun. But what this thing is doing is not doing that. Okay? It's accelerating away from the sun. All right? And it's doing its own thing. You know, it's not necessarily accelerating towards the sun. And it's not necessarily slowing down when it goes away from the sun. You know, so it's not obeying the laws of science that they want it to obey. You know, basically, in simple terms, without getting overly technical, okay, it's not behaving as an inanimate object. Okay? It says a designation that seems to point to Three-Eyed Atlas, reports the Daily Star. NASA urged to release Three-Eyed Atlas data as alien spaceship picks up speed. Giant space object hurtling toward Earth may be artificial, Harvard astrophysicist warns. You got actual respected scientists saying, hey, this could very well be a spaceship. Okay, so it's not a joke anymore. All right. The trigger for this abrupt worldwide attention is the object's irregular pattern. There you go, man. Like I was saying, it's not acting normally. It's not acting like a big rock just flying through space. You know, that's very easy to calculate. It's like when you throw a ball, you could predict where it's going to end up. But if you see a ball, right, and it stops and then turns at 100 miles an hour, you know that's not a regular ball, bro. Even though it may look like a ball from a distance. You see, I mean, they can't, I mean, with the pictures they be putting up, it looks like they don't have a camera that can see worth of shit. But, you know, we know that they hide certain things, man. So they may well Salakia. It's been a long day. They may very well see something that they're not showing us that's terrifying them, man. All right. For all these countries to get together real quick, just like C-19, man. It's a global effort. All right. The trigger for this abrupt worldwide attention is the object's irregular patterns. Researchers have recorded rigid physics-defying anti-tail jets, mysterious pulsations, and a continuous non-gravitational acceleration that doesn't align with natural phenomena. You can't make this up, bro. All right, you can't explain this away. You can't explain this away. All right, if it's not following gravity, gravity is the most powerful force out there in space, right? Or so we were told. If it's going against gravity, man, what does that tell you? All right, the Lord's technology is far out. It says a groundbreaking theory from astrophysicist Avi Loeb proposes that the mysterious sunward anti-tail might actually be a cluster of compact objects, right? It could be multiple chariots, like I was bringing out earlier, man. All right, Salakia. A cluster of compact objects traveling with three-eyed Atlas rather than the traditional gas bloom explanation. So, hey, like the scriptures say, man, Psalm 68:17, the chariots of the Most High are 20,000, even thousands of angels. The Lord is among them, as in Sinai in the holy place, man. You see, this is beautiful. This is beautiful, man. Loeb's research indicates that if this swarm theory proves accurate, these objects would trail slightly closer to our star while maintaining an offset of tens of thousands of kilometers, a behavior pattern that aligns with observations recorded since July. You know, hey, that's far out. Imagine it could be like this, like a whole army coming, man. Yeah, man, because when the Lord comes, that's it. All right, the Lord's closing. You know, this kingdom is going down the toilet, man. I mean, it's already being destroyed from the inside. The Lord is causing it to systematically fail first, right? And then ultimately he's going to show up, man. All right. And of course, Jacob's trouble is looming, man. It's about to explode into full force. You know, they talking about a dark winter. They talking about the power grid going out. They talking about this American power grid is done, is finished. And then we got the coldest winter ever approaching, allegedly, right? I've been reading some articles. Okay, so it's not looking too good for Babylon, man. It's not looking too good. And we know these elites want order out of chaos. So they're going to allow this shit to just collapse like a house of cards so they could bring out that new world order, man. They don't care, man. No matter how sloppy that shit looks, and as long as they could get a chip in most people, they feel like they've won. Then they could rebuild everything and fix everything. But the most important thing for them is to get that chip in everybody, man. That's that NWO. You see? But it's all in vain, man. Like the scriptures say in Psalms chapter 2. Let's get it real quick, man. Real quick. Through the Spirit. Psalms 2:1. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Right? Why do these heathens, these other nations, imagine something pointless? What is that pointless thing, man? All right? They want to do the same thing they did in the time of the Tower of Babel. Build a tower to heaven so that the Lord wouldn't be able to flood them out again. They think that they're going to be able to mount up a defense against Yahushua. Because why? Because Yahushua is coming to save his people from their enemies. Okay? Verse 2, the kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against Yahweh and against his anointed, saying... Okay, so right there you can see that they're all against us, man. They're all against us and they're against the Lord. So guess what? They know when the Lord comes back, he's not coming to save them. So they got to prepare a fight against the Lord. You see? And you can read this whole psalm. It goes into, you know, how they're against us. They try to keep us in a low state. Just like Psalms 83 talks about, you know? It says, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. The Lord shall have him in derision, man. Yeah, and the Lord laughs through the mouth of his prophets, man. You know, we laugh at you Edomites all the time, man, because you're not going to make it, man. All this effort, all this pride, it's going to come to nothing. You're going to be looking fucking stupid at the end of the day, man. Like it says in Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5, man. You're going to look real stupid and you're going to admit you were stupid, man. All right? All this racism, all this bullshit. All right? But yeah, man. Yeah, look at this. Verse 7, real quick. I will declare the decree. Yahweh has said unto me, thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee. Right? The Heavenly Father and his son. Ask of me, and I will give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, right? Yahweh's going to give Yahushai the heathen. How's he going to do it? He has to come here and conquer them first, man. The same way we were conquered by the Edomites. That's why we speak English now. Okay, well, guess what? You Edomites are going to be speaking Hebrew very soon. Because the Lord is done with this place. This place is finished. This shit is over, man. All right? It's through. All right? And now is the time of salvation, man. It's coming, man. It's coming. All right? Jacob's trouble got to kick into high gear. And that chip is going to be mandated very soon, man. As soon as that happens, put all faith in Yahweh B'Shem Yashai. Put all faith in Yahweh B'Shem Yashai from now, brothers and sisters. From now. If you haven't already. And keep that faith to the end, man. And you're going to taste and see. All right? The Lord is good, man. The Lord is going to reward us 100-fold for our suffering, man. All right? It says, ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession, man. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. We're going to have you heathen in strict rule when the Lord returns, man. These heathens don't want to go down, man. They love this shit. Even though Esau's over them, Esau's fucking their kingdom up. Their kingdoms up. They still like being in charge, man. They don't want to be under us. These heathens, and Esau especially, does not want to be under you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. But guess what? They're not going to have a choice, man. This is the Lord's will, the Lord's movie. All right? It says, thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. That's right, man. We're going to destroy these heathens out here, man. Okay? Because we're going to be joint heirs with Yahushai, man. The same heathens Yahushai is going to possess, we're going to possess these heathens also, man. Because Yahushai is going to share his kingdom with us, man. Because we're friends of Yahushai. All right? If we stand 10-toed down for the Lord, all right, you know, and make it to the end, we're the elect. If we make it to the end, you know, Lord's will. All right? So this is a beautiful time, Yahshua. It's a beautiful time to be looking up, keeping the faith, keeping your eyes on prophecy, man. Because things are happening, man. And, you know, even if this turns out to be nothing, just the very fact that these heathens are freaking the fuck out, bugging out, coming all together, like Ronald Reagan said they would, shows you they know something, man. All right? They know something's out there, and that something is someone. It's Yahushai. Yahushai is out there. Yahushai and the angels, and they're coming back. This is what the scriptures say, man. The same way they shadow ban our videos all the way to the bottom of YouTube, okay? They know we got the truth. They know we have the 100% truth, man. They know someone's coming back for us, all right? And they don't want that. They're scared. These Edomites are terrified, man. These international banking families are sweating bullets in their sleep. They're terrified, man. They're terrified. They can't sleep at night. You see? All right, let's get into this real quick. It says, this revelation carries profound strategic consequences for Earth's defense systems. Rather than tracking one singular celestial body, planetary protection would need to monitor numerous independent bodies, each possessing distinct mass characteristics and orbital dynamics. All right, so they trying to focus on pinpointing all these different objects, and they're willing to do it, man. They got all this AI now. They got all these telescopes set up there. Why do you think they do that? Why do you think they spend all the millions of dollars, man? They know that their kingdom is going to be destroyed by the Lord, who's coming from where? From the heavens. You see? Military strategists recognize this is an exponentially more challenging situation demanding enhanced sensor arrays, supplementary satellite coverage, and rapid response capabilities. Government sources acknowledge that this crisis has created an unprecedented political opportunity. Advanced technologies that typically spark international tensions, including spy satellites and deep space infrared monitoring systems, are now being deployed with remarkably little opposition from competing nations. The European... so these nations that supposedly hate each other, they're coming together, man. You see? The European Space Agency's 25.7 billion expansion received approval at breakneck speed, while American acquisition records reveal fast-track contracts for cutting-edge surveillance platforms. All right. And we'll get the rest of this and we'll get the precepts, man. But it says the International Asteroid Warning Network was additionally incorporated provisions allowing temporary integration of classified sensor intelligence for analyzing non-standard hyperbolic bodies. Okay, non-standard hyperbolic bodies. Let's see if we could get what that means real quick. Hyperbolic, exaggerated. All right, non-standard, exaggerated body. Yeah, it's something that's not acting right. That's what I get out of that. But nevertheless, don't matter. It says, meanwhile, 3i Atlas continues confounding scientists with its bizarre behavior. The object exhibits irregular deceleration and acceleration patterns. See, like I said, man, it'll speed up and slow down when it wants, not the way it should, not the way its path as it relates to the sun's gravity, right? They got systems and computers that can calculate it. Okay, it's supposed to act this way. The other rocks out there in space, they follow the pattern, but this one doesn't. And it came from deep space. It's not from here. You see? Unpredictable brightness fluctuations and rash rotational characteristics that contradict known natural phenomena. Right? It's defying the laws of physics, man. Because it's from the fourth dimension. It's the Lord's technology, man. It says, as December 19th draws closer, it seems that governments are viewing this anomaly as a chance to accelerate the development of global planetary defense capabilities years ahead of schedule. Years ahead of schedule. They're terrified, man. They know the Lord is going to force their hand, man. Hey, watch Jacob's Trouble fully pop off and the MOTB be mandated within months, man. Within months, it could happen, bro. If they see some angels out there getting closer, man, they're going to stop kicking the fucking can down the road, man. All right? The Lord's going to do it, man. However the Lord's going to do it, the Lord might, taunt them, get them scared, whatever the Lord's going to do, the Lord's going to do. Okay, but we know what biblical prophecy says. It says these days will be shortened. So we're not going to be here for another fucking 1,000 years like this Alizar dude was talking about. All right? And we're not going to be here, through the Spirit. I believe we're not going to be here for another decade. Hell no, man. It's not going to be another decade, man. It's a matter of months at this point, through the Spirit, And, the Apostle Elder Tahar was going into that also, man. We could be out of here within months. All right? It's not going to be long. As soon as that chip's mandated, man, we could be out of here within months. And the chip is about to be mandated, man. All right? But the Lord is coming in a chariot, man, and the scriptures talk about these chariots, man. Okay? We know, we just read about the chariots here in Psalm 68 and 17. Another code word for a chariot or a so-called UFO is the word clouds, man. We're going to get it real quick in the Psalms 104 and 3. Who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, right? Who maketh the cloud his chariot, you see? Who walketh upon the wings of the wind, man. Because that chariot is a vehicle, man. Okay, the cloud is his chariot. Okay, now we go to Isaiah 19 and 1 and put it together. The burden of Egypt, right, which is talking about spiritual Egypt, also known as America. Behold, Yahweh rideth upon a swift cloud, right? So the Lord is driving inside of these chariots, right? He's driving just like we drive a car. Yahweh drives a chariot. A swift chariot is very swift because as you saw here, it defies the laws of physics, man. Okay? And like I said, I'm not saying this particular chariot is Yahweh Shai because all these chariots are powerful. It could just be regular angels. Okay? Because we know Yahweh Shai's chariot is going to be Massive, man. Okay. Let's get this real quick. Isaiah 19:1. We need this word swift. Real quick. All right, this is the word swift. And I believe the word is qual. It's lucky if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but it's it looks like qual or kal. It means swift, light, fleet, one who is swift. All right, swift real quick in the dictionary. What does it mean? Speed, moving or capable of moving at high speed, happening quickly or promptly, swiftly. A swift flying bird. Okay, that's not it. But yeah, y'all get the point. It's fast. And Esau was saying, it's acting in ways that does not make sense. So it can't be an object. It has to be something intelligent. Right? The burden of Egypt, behold, Yahweh rideth upon a swift cloud and shall come into Egypt. Right? The Lord's going to come into America. He's going to invade this world, man. Like a so-called alien invasion. It says, in the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it, right? This American spirit is going to be crushed, man. And it's being crushed systematically because the Lord is setting up the downfall of this place. There's no American spirit no more. The American dream is gone. People couldn't even eat for Thanksgiving, you see, because they food stamps and, all the hardships. You see, so this American way of life is being crushed. And ultimately, it's really going to be crushed when the Lord returns, man. All right? The heart of Egypt will melt. They're going to be terrified, man. Because that's how the Lord is coming. He's coming in a giant ship. A giant one, man. There's not going to be no mistaking it, man. This is 2 Ezra 13:1. And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night. And lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the ways thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven, right? Who's that man? Yahushai, and he waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. You see, like it said in Psalm 68, right? The 20,000s of chariots and the Lord being among them, all right? Let's get back here. It says, and when he turned his countenance, right, his face to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. Yeah, everybody was terrified. The heart of Egypt will melt. Okay, all you heathens going to be terrified, shitting your pants, man. And 2/3 Jake. 2/3 Jake that called us haters, or they called us they called us racist, angry, stupid. Oh, you guys don't understand the Bible. You're just cherry picking, Bible hopscotch, making fun of the Israel. Hey, you're not gonna be making fun on that day, man. You're not gonna be making fun on that day, man. All right, but like it says here, it says, and whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burnt that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea, right? The sea being the sky, because you got the waters below, the waters above. And as we just read, he came from heaven, which heaven represents the sky, okay? Because you got the first heaven, that's the sky. The second heaven is outer space, and the third heaven is the spirit world, okay? But like it says here, there was gathered a great multitude of men out of number from the four winds. The four winds is the whole earth. So who is this army of men coming to attack Yahushai? That's these nations. That's the heathen, like we read in Psalms 2, the heathen that rage and the people that imagine a vain thing. And one of those vain things, they think they're going to be able to fight the Lord Yahushai and destroy him and be able to keep us in captivity forever. That's a fucking stupid idea, man. And it's not going to happen. I had to laugh, man, because there's no fucking way. You heathen are finished. It's over. It's over. Give it up, man. Give up your NWO, man. But they're not going to give it up, man, because it's biblical prophecy. And the Lord wants to build up your courage so he can crush you and break your pride, man. The Lord wants to really fuck you up, man. The Lord doesn't want to beat you while you're down. The Lord wants you to build you up so he can crush you to dust, man. The Lord is a man of war. Yeah? Exodus, let's get it real quick, Lord's will. 15:3. It says, Yahweh is a man of war. Yahweh is his name, man. See, the Lord of the Bible, the God of the Bible is not a punk. The God of the Bible is not soft like you people thought, man. He's a warrior. He's a warrior, priest, king. Yahushua is a priest, right? But the Lord is a man of war, okay? And, he's a perfect balance, man. Right? Austere, stoic, hard, and merciful at the same time, man. The Lord's mercy. The scriptures talk about that, man. That's who we worship. Who do you people worship? You fucking heathens. You worship frogs, cows. You worship shit that's beneath you. And then you got to make an idol for it and carry it around. And we don't got to do that. Right? He is the invisible power. Because we don't need to make an idol for him. He's real. All right, but like it says here, man, these heathen nations are going to come together. And that's exactly what we saw in this article. That's exactly the spirit that Ronald Reagan was putting out there. That's the same spirit these heathen are in now. And the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, DuPont, they all got a plan for when the Lord returns. But it's not going to work. As we're going to read here, verse 6. But I beheld, and lo, he graved himself a great mountain and flew upon it. What's this great mountain that the Lord flies upon? All right, it's the same one we read about here in Isaiah 19:1, man. Behold, Yahweh rides upon a swift cloud, right? A swift chariot being a vehicle, right? This giant mountain he saw as a vehicle. So you can think about the movies where you see a mothership, right? You remember that movie Independence Day? This giant mothership that covers the whole sky. Well, the Lord's coming back in a fathership that's bigger than the whole earth. And he's the pilot, man. He's flying upon it. He's controlling it. Okay? But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. Right? So, Esdras having a vision and being human, he didn't know right away, or he didn't know what it was at the time. He thought it was a mountain. So he said, I looked to see where the Lord, ripped this mountain out of, but I couldn't see it. He didn't see a hole in the ground because it wasn't a mountain, a regular mountain. It was actually a spaceship that was large like a mountain. You could just imagine some of the chariots the angels are going to be coming in. They're going to be coming in chariots the size of Mount Everest. Okay, you don't think that would freak people the fuck out, man? But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, yet durst fight. Yeah, they're terrified, man. Who would want to come against a force like that? Right? Verse 9, and lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. Right? The Lord didn't break a sweat. Why? Watch this. Verse 10, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests, right? It's just like Independence Day when it opens the mouth, the chariot opens the mouth, and that gigantic laser beam comes down and destroys everything. Right? That's what it's talking about. Verse 11, and they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight. Right? So the Lord shot that laser beam at all these different armies that were coming against him. It says, and burned them up, every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude, nothing was to be perceived but only dust and the smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. So that's going to be the end of you heathen, man. and they read this scripture, man. This book was removed from the Bible. That could be one of the reasons why. Amongst many other reasons. The history of why the Israelites are called Greeks in the New Testament. Okay? Many things are being covered up when you remove 14 books from the Bible and say, oh, they're no longer canonical. Look up the Bible Destruction Group. A group of Edomites got together to remove these books from the Bible, man. But you can still find these books in the original 1611 King James Version of the Bible. You see? But yeah, man, a lot of activity is happening this year as 2025 comes to a close. The Lord is showing himself strong in the heavens, man. Whether this thing turns out to, be the Lord sending angels to the earth to invade this place. Because, you got Michael that's going to come in, Daniel's 12:1. And again, the Lord is going to come ultimately to destroy this place, but, whether these be the angels the Lord is sent to ultimately come in, or whether it be, like they say, a comet, okay, it doesn't matter, man. The spirit that you're getting from this article is showing you that these heathen know there is a threat in outer space, and that's exactly what the scripture's talking about. So this video is not about Three-Eye Atlas, is what I'm trying to say right now. It's not about Three-Eye Atlas. This is about the chariots of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. This is about biblical prophecy, and it's showing you that these heathens are getting ready for war with the Lamb. They're getting ready because they're getting ready to mandate the MOTB. And they know as soon as they do that, Yahweh Shai is going to be unleashed. And they have to prepare their armies for it, man. Because they think they're going to win. That's why. Do you think they got all these robots? They got these robot armies. Okay, they got these robotic dogs with AK-47s and AI technology and remote controls. Okay? And they can make billions upon billions and trillions upon trillions of them, man, if they wanted to. Okay, that's not to fight a regular war, man. That's because they want to fight against the Lord. Okay, but, ultimately, they're just going to be destroyed at the end of the day, man. Okay? But this is Daniel's 12:1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, and everyone that shall be found written in the book. Right? So the Lord is going to send, have Michael stand up, giving our people spiritual powers to fight against these devils when they come down with that great wrath. Okay, and then shortly thereafter, Yahweh Shai is going to show up, take the heathen down, beam up his elect. Okay, that's why the scriptures say they went up to heaven in a cloud and their enemies beheld them, showing you that even at the time of salvation, we still have the same enemies, man. This whole thing where the Gentiles, that the natural Gentiles were accepted into the fold. No, man. That's folly. That's false philosophy. That's false doctrine. That's that wayward woman that you read about in the Proverbs, man. Okay? You don't want to follow that woman, man. That's these wicked philosophies of this world, man. Put that shit to the side, Jake, and come back to your true heritage, man. Stop being weak. Stop being like these heathens, man. Come back to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, man. But yeah, Yasharallah. Just something quick. I didn't want to make this too long. I already went longer than I wanted to. But, yeah, man, I pray that was edifying to the hopeful elect. I want to finish by giving all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Chakwadash. Double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who taught us his truth. A sincere shalom to the hopeful elect that's out there listening, learning, and/or teaching in truth and sincerity. And shalom wa abad babal. Shalom.